Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. I got to tell you, Brachelle, do your cheeks hurt yet?
Yes, especially today. Thursdays are the sore cheek days, I've decided.
Because she smiles so much and stuff.
Yes.
And well, I hope they're not done yet because we've got an amazing guest that we're going to be bringing on in just a moment. But I got to read through his bio a little bit because he's had the opportunity to do so much in his life, travel so many places, see so many people. It is just amazing. At one time, he opened because he's a musician and he's done that his entire life. He has the rare ability to create songs at the drop of a hat and make them rhyme and make them sound great. And so he actually opened for people like Deepak Chopra and Louise Hay and Ram Dass and Dr. Bernie Siegel and Byron Katie, Dr. John Gray, Jack Canfield, Alan Cohen, a name I can't pronounce, Michael Victor Hansen, Lee Brown, Judas Orta, and so many more. And he also, because he became what he called the conscious comic, and he opened for people in the Bay Area. And I don't know if you know who lived in the Bay Area, but one of the famous people and was one of the amazing human beings that, in my opinion, has ever lived was Robin Williams, as far as comedy goes. And he opened for him, Dana Carvey, who does all the accents. This guy is amazing, and I want to bring him on the show now because he is just, and he's a very funny man. And
I have to say, if you're listening to the show, go watch it because we welcome the one and only Scott Grace.
And Scott, is such amazing to have you here. And we did something unusual. And last week I had a gentleman who wanted to book the show for this time, and it didn't work out, and I ended up canceling the show because he was asking for things, and I didn't know why. I didn't know if we would have anybody. But then you did your preliminary meeting with us, if I could speak English. I'm so excited. Last Monday or something. And
yeah, it's been a few days.
And this time was open.
The preliminary meeting, may I stop you for a second?
Yes.
So Kevin and Brachelle got PMS, which stands for Preliminary Meeting Syndrome. In other words, they fell in love with me and wanted to book me as soon as possible. So they kicked this guy out because he was a prima donna, and I'm much more humble.
and much more talented and much more gifted, and can talk about, we had a couple of weeks ago, Scott, I got to tell you, we had a tap dancer on who's 80. He's still tap dancing.
Nice.
And he could go back and he could talk about all, the Dean Martins and the Sammy Davis Juniors and the Johnny Carson and just tons and tons of people that he'd worked with because he was in Hollywood and stuff. You are every bit as talented and as have met so many wonderful people in your life, including like Jesse Jackson and Marianne Williamson.
Thank you. And the third presidential candidate. I think I learned a lot about dancing, tap dancing around questions from the politicians. So you'll see me tap dance verbally.
They're very gifted at that, but it's just remarkable to have you here. You're now in semi-retirement. I don't even know what that means for a guy like you, but you're down in Mexico land.
Mexico, sí, señor.
Yes, indeed. It is just awesome to have you here. There's so much that we need to talk about your work and the music that you play, And when did you discover that you could take an idea or a thought and
Mhm.
create a jingle out of it,
Mm.
and to make it rhyme and to make it to sound really
Mm.
good? Was that something that you grew up with, or did you discover that over time?
No, it was over time. I got my first inklings of it when I was a kid, and I used to take the pop songs on the radio and even old songs, Frank Sinatra, Strangers in the Night, and change the words just spontaneously and make it really actually quite dirty and immature at that time. And then
You were a teenage boy.
I'd pass it around. Kids were giggling. I got into trouble. Then, as I became open to meditation and positive things, spirituality, this little clever rhyming fellow in my head started to see a direction, and it was a direction that enabled my perfection, my connection, my selection of positivity to, well, I just had a proclivity to lean towards divinity and help people find their own in their own vicinity. So whether it be rhyming or music, I just decided to choose it. I took a leap of faith, and here is Scott Grace.
And you were just speaking in rhyme, by the way.
Just
Yep.
now? Oh my
Yeah.
God, I didn't even notice.
Oh, stop. You did too.
I did. I told you I was going to tap dance around some of the questions. But you told me that I'm able to make up songs at
Yep.
the drop of a hat. So I ran and got my sombrero, senor, and now I'm going to drop it and pick up my guitar, and you just tell me something that's relevant to your listeners that you'd like me to make up a song about. Let's let Rochelle choose the topic.
Oh my gosh, I saw that coming.
You did?
Let's do inspiration.
Let's take a permanent vacation from the lack of inspiration and open our hearts to life. Let's renew our dedication to inner inspiration and be inspired by life. 'Cause I am positive that Kevin and Rochelle are showing you every day that all is well, and all is well can be your mantra for life. Let me be your musical midwife. Wow, standing ovation online.
And they're on their feet. They are just simply amazed.
Oh, you sound like you'd be a good sports announcer.
He's a good announcer.
I've thought of that, but I like doing this instead because I love talking to people like you that have been you've done so much. Do you ever stop and reflect on everything that you've done and who you are and who you've impacted?
When I see myself out of the eyes of somebody like you reading my bio, I'm like, holy shit, was that me? Is that me? So you helping me reflect.
It is simply it's magical, the impact that somebody can have. And let's be honest here. You started out as a street musician in New York City.
Remember the song?
Yes, but even before that, I was an illegal, unlicensed street peddler, selling laundry bags on the streets, running away from police, dreaming that I would someday be able to let go of the bags and do what I love and let the money follow.
And all of that has come true in your life because you are a living example of what can be accomplished by somebody if you just dedicate yourself to your best living every day.
I sold my last laundry bag in 1990, moved to California, and 6 months later I came back to New York, Brooklyn Heights, to visit my parents. And I just had this inkling I could use the extra money, the quick cash. And I had nostalgia. So I called up my laundry bag salesman, and he said, and I said, I'd like to just buy some laundry bags. I'm in town for a week. And he said, I'm not going to sell them to you. And I said, why? And he said, because this is your dream. You told me that you were no longer going to do anything for money except what you love. And I don't want to support you going back to your old habit. This is a businessman.
An enlightened one at that.
Lovely.
Because you have you know, and you've worked in corporations, and I just love the you know, to paint a picture for everybody, and I think this is true, but you would walk into a corporate environment and you were there to compose songs on the spot about items on their agenda while they're in the boardroom.
Yeah.
A place where nobody wanted to be. They had to be there because the boss said they did.
Exactly.
And you gave them a reason to be there. And I'll bet you were really popular.
Thank you. Yeah, I was. Well, enough about me. Let's talk about, and then you fill in the blank.
Rochelle?
What do you got on your mind besides the genius of Scott Grace?
Well, this is all about you. This is all about Scott Grace. That's why we're here.
Okay. All
So
right.
you buckle up because we've got questions.
My beautiful narcissist ego. I love it. Let's talk about me.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't let's do this, and let's do this early on.
Okay.
Let's talk about Robin Williams, because you opened for him, you worked for him, you worked with him,
I got to know him a bit behind.
What kind of a man was he?
Complex, dedicated, brilliant. Of course, you know about his talents. I would say that he was the classic clown in the sense that he had a lot of sadness behind his brilliance, and he took on a lot of the pain of the world. His heartbreak. He used to go to Iraq 4 times a year just on his own business, just to do shows for the army. And he was just he had a heart of gold. He had a tough time being a human being, and he struggled in his personal life. So he would just, he dedicated everything to his career and he was like a shooting star. He gave the world his best and went out when it was time to go out.
The interesting thing about a gentleman like him and a lot of comics is they are hiding behind their exterior of being funnier than everybody else and stuff. But when you ask them, and I don't know if you ever had a chance to ask him, Robin, calm down. How are you really feeling today?
No, I would have liked to.
It would for those guys that, and this goes for everybody. You can be funny and stuff and not be hiding stuff. But I've known a lot of comics, the Chico and the Man comic, Freddie Prinze, who committed suicide when he was like 22, and he was a funny guy. But there was stuff behind that was tough. So
always. Our greatest gifts have our greatest shadow within it, and if we don't do both the shining of the light and the taking care of the pain, then we burn out pretty quickly. And that's not true just for comics. That's true for, if you look at your gifts, they come from your greatest wounds. The doorway is wounding.
I don't have. Well, no, I can't. Never mind. I'm speechless, sir. That and that is so true.
Speechless in Seattle. What city?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, and I am.
Holy moly!
That was a wonderful.
I'm so fucking intuitive. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. You actually warned me not to do that.
We have editing devices that'll take care of that.
So take 2. I'm so intuitive.
You are indeed. So I need to take a quick break, but would you grab your instrument, please? And I would, because I want to save this for posterity. And can you do a song about positive talk
Yeah.
and stuff so that we can then save it and then we can put it everywhere because your talent is amazing. So,
Thank you, Kevin.
Rochelle,
You
we need
can,
to take a quick break.
yeah, you're dismissed. You can go to the bathroom.
Thank you. At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's ultimate transformation lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform You. And welcome back to Positive Talk. You know, Rochelle, why don't you bring us back?
Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio, everybody, with the one and only Kevin McDonald and myself. And today we have Scott Grace, who is, I'd have to say, one of an original. There is nobody that I've ever met that is like you, Scott, and your energy could fuel this world.
Aww. Wow.
That is so true. Rochelle, did you make him speechless? I can't believe that's possible.
Hey.
Oh,
See,
I
I've
can
got
hear you.
talent.
I'm speechless. Yeah, I'm very touched, Rochelle. Thank you.
You're very
Well-
welcome. And once we do this song, I have a question for you. So,
All right.
What do you want to ask the question first?
For you to just tell me to do a positive talk radio song without giving me a little, it's not fair. Give me a little content, like what's the purpose, what's the big picture, or just little things that I can include in the song. You know, it's like I'm a waiter and I'm ready to take your order. What do you want in the song?
Go ahead, Rochelle.
I would say knowledge and
Vague.
opening up your heart,
That's
energy,
yeah. Yeah.
discipline,
Discipline.
different ways
Damn,
of
why did you have to
living.
mention that? That's one of my I'm not so good at discipline.
Oh,
How
hey,
about-
me neither.
How about education, empowerment, enlightenment,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
and just a grand old time talking
Love,
to
life,
friends
happy.
that you have never met in person and I've never met Rochelle in person, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, a family. I think that we have created
Mm.
quite the unique little family out of this
Let's do it.
community.
Okay. Now I have to get you to stop.
Feel like I need to
Don't
stand
get
up.
them started, boys and girls.
We don't stop easy.
Kevin and Rochelle don't stop easy. Their little rant is soft and breezy. They never met in person, but they're family. They share a slice of heaven. Their open hearts are open 24/7. Just like your local 7-Eleven, they are here for you. Positive Talk Radio lifts your spirits, helps you flow. The knowledge that they pretend to know is off the charts from open hearts. So let's tune in, not just to them, but tune in to yourself, my friend. The love and joy has no end. You just tune down into your soul. I'm ready to rock and roll, 'cause I can do no wrong. And that's the end of this song.
That is simply remarkable. That's simply remarkable.
I just
And
feel like I want to explain the I can do no wrong, because I don't know, like it just came through me. And then I was like, that sounds so like ego driven, and how dare I say that? And then the next thought I had was, no, it was perfect, because when you're in the flow and you're creating this, or just allowing this kind of thing to happen, I've learned over the years to trust that I can do no wrong when I'm in the stream. There was one time I used to do these musical healing circles, and people would lie down, and people around them would place their hands very gently on them, only with consent. And then I would just, in a sense, channel a song. And one time, there was a man, obviously Jewish, and I started to go into the chords to Silent Night. I didn't sing anything. I just went. Meanwhile, my ego, my self-doubt, was having a field day, telling me, what the hell are you doing? This guy's Jewish. And I just went through the thing, and then I opened my mouth. His name was Mike, and he was working on using his voice and not hiding anymore. And I found myself singing, not so silent, Mike, no more silent, Mike. Of course, everything, if you look at it the right way, is perfect. And that's
yes.
what I've been learning by allowing myself this, to be a vessel, an instrument for the muses of life and love.
Now, you're a spiritual man. I am. And I would venture to guess that whenever that you begin that and you start, and it's almost like you're channeling, because you're in the flow, and the words just come to you, the feelings, the thoughts, and
Indeed.
it's not like you're working hard for it. It's because you are, it's
Yes.
a gift that
People
you have
say,
for you.
God, you think fast on your feet. And I say, no way, I'm not thinking at all. There's nothing, no thinking here. And it was pretty amazing. I had one couple come up to me. They were about to come into my concert before the show, and they had heard that I'm a channel, and they said, in whose name are you this channel? And I was just, being my playful self, and I said, the devil. And they walked so fast away. And I said, I was just kidding. It's all about love. Jesus is my main man. Couldn't get them to turn around.
Well, I love that too, because you're able to inquire so much of comedy and music, both ends of them, but then they also kind of cross and intertwine with each other. And that's absolutely beautiful how you can make it a positive thing.
I love it too. I'm so glad that I have this ability. I think the comedy is kind of like lubrication before sex. It opens people up so that the message, the wisdom, the healing, I take my work very seriously, and the comedy has a purpose to help lubricate and open and get people defenseless. So boom, something really valuable can come in.
And I will tell you that I'm convinced of this beyond measure, and that is on the other side, where we call what I call home, the two things that are imperative are laughter and music, and it is everywhere there. And
well, good, because I'm going to die laughing.
well, you're kind of yeah. Actually, I got to tell you, you are. Scott, you are going to be in such demand over there. There's going to be a golden guitar waiting for you, and they're going to say, "Here, play this." Here,
and I'll say, "Hey, I'm semi-retired. I live in Mexico. I don't really want to do this anymore.
I
And
don't
then the
think you're gonna have
light,
a
I
chance.
see the light, and angels come, and they have this golden guitar, and oh, and all my dead relatives are there, and I just can't wait to sing them a welcome home song, and they join me. It's a beautiful experience. Kevin, Rochelle, when you get there, let's have a chat.
Well, but
Yes.
you've got a long, when when you present the kind of energy that you do and the things that you have experienced in your life, you've got a long life ahead because you're still contributing so much to the world that we're not going to let you go. Sorry.
I
You gotta
love it.
stay.
I'm ready. This is my second childhood. I'm so less stressed than when I lived in the United States. And I had 2 jobs in Northern California just to pay the bills. And just, it's like it took me a year down here to detox from all this survival and stress and start a new
Mm.
life. So I'm actually much more busy in a loving, playful, and relaxed way than I ever was in the States.
Yeah, well, it's for those of you that are living here, it is hard here. In the States right now is not a real comfortable time. I'm glad you're where you are. And I love the name of the village. What's the name of the village that you are in?
I live in a semi-retirement community called Namaste Village.
Which is
About
how long did it
40
take you to find
adults and
that?
a few kids. What did you ask, Kevin?
How long did it take you to find that particular village, or did it just
You
like
tell
everything
me.
else in your
Just
life
as
just kind of
just,
magically show up?
just
Tell
as
me.
just as my landlord in the Bay Area told me that I have 6 weeks to find a new place. Somebody in the Bay Area, a friend of mine, came back glowing about this place that he was spending a few months at, and I just looked at the website, and it was almost like I was there. I was one of the only people in the area that never visited first and checked things out. I just took that leap and just trusted that it was going to be a really good experience.
And true to that it is. Yesterday we interviewed a guy who has traveled all over the world and has climbed mountains and has done all that kind of stuff. And it all started because he wanted to leave his hometown and he stuck his thumb out with $65 in his pocket. He got picked up and his
Mm,
whole life
hmm.
unfolded in front of him
I love it.
and for forever.
And
And he
and
read
you know,
15 books and all that.
positive talk radio. People listening right now are probably like, I want more positivity in my life. And what happens is you take tragedy, you take negativity, and you learn to reframe it as a blessing in
Mm.
disguise, and you set about looking for that blessing. So, a positive life is not necessarily free of challenges. It's just an abundant opportunity to reframe the tragic and turn the tragic into magic for your alchemy of a new life.
Yes, and I have to ask you, Scott, what do you think of this? Kevin taught me this when I first started working with him about a year ago, and it changed my mind completely. The most
Okay.
simple thing I've been telling other people, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. Yes?
Indeed. Yeah. I love it, Rochelle. It's a wonderful way to live. Everything is here for you. Everyone is helping you grow. And if you really get that you're here to get a good education, not just to have everything work out, but that you're here for taking classes at Earth University. And one of those classes could be Divorce 101. Many people
Mm.
graduate and take Divorce 201, 301. But everything's here for your growth, your healing, and your to lift you into a new version of you. Nothing is here to punish you, abandon you, or reject you. It's all good.
Scott, I got to ask you when we come back from this break, I often tell people when I tell them my story that in the
Mhm.
midst of my story that there's a bad country music song. Can you create a bad country music song? My dad died, my dog died, my wife left, I lost my house, I had to declare bankruptcy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kevin, I'm surprised that you just need to use the bathroom several times. You must stop drinking water before a show, or is it beer? Anyway, let's all take a break and see what this wonderful commercial is.
It's tequila. Hold on.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Oh, and there she is. That's Rochelle. She's the famous one. That's her right there. And Scott Grace is with us. He has graced us with his presence, and I really appreciate that you've done that. You're just a remarkable human being, and I wish there were more people like you.
Well, I have a daughter.
Hey, I want to be friends with her. I need friends.
Well, that's good. That's good, and I love the work that you're doing, and I love the man that you are, and the people that you've met. Of all the thought leaders that you've met now, like I've met Neil Donald Walsh and Gary Zukav and many others, but of all the spiritual or enlightened people you've met, who would you say is your most favorite? Can you even describe? Is there? Can you even put them in that kind of a box? I don't know.
No, not really. But I'm not going to say who's my favorite because I don't have a favorite. But I'll say the one that pops into my mind right now for her authenticity and incredible courage is Marianne Williamson.
Yes,
what she's doing on the front lines, it's amazing to me.
And she has put herself out there in the most amazing ways. Being a presidential candidate is not easy, and putting herself out there and actually talking about love and taking care of each other and stuff, that's a very
it's like a modern version of taking a cross and saying, hey, put nails in my hands because it's my intention to use my life for service and teaching, and I'll do anything to help as many people as possible. And when she goes into the political environments that want to crucify her, she's human. She's got a lot of guts.
Mm-hmm.
Courage, and thank goodness she does.
Yeah.
Because we need people out there that like her. And Marianne Williamson is a mark. I hope she runs again. But I don't know. It takes a toll on a person.
Nothing can stop her, except maybe the desire to have a sane, balanced life. Let's hope she doesn't get there. You know what? You haven't asked. I know we have 15 minutes left or so. You haven't asked me to whip out. Oh, kids, I'm not going to say anything nasty. To whip out the spiritual Dr. Seuss.
Oh, please do.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me tell you what's on the menu. We have a special on struggle. We have our usual fear, which is a great dish. We do like to offer, for those of you that have guilt, we do a great guilt conversation. And then there's the inner critic, which most of us have a tough time with. So what would be your favorite dish to whip up?
Oh, Rochelle, you're on.
The critic, for sure. I
Oh,
have to go with
God.
that one.
My critic travels with me on this earth and is my companion for worser or worse. It pretends it's my coach, my badass amigo, and it pours on the guilt. That's the beverage of ego.
Mm.
It's there to protect us, to help us be strong. So it has to remind you you've done it all wrong. You're weak and you're lazy and you don't have a clue. That's your drill sergeant critic trying to motivate you. Your critic wants you to be all you can be. So it gives you these pep talks all day and for free. Oh, the places you go and the guilt trips you'll travel as your critic plays judge and bangs down on its gavel. But you always can get some relief from your shame by projecting it onto the others you'll blame. For that is the critic at its beastiest best. It nurses its grievances close to its chest. Republicans, liberals, your parents, your ex. The world is just teeming with folks to correct. If only these fools could conform to your ways, you'd get on with life without further delays. Now, this is a 6-minute performance, so I'm going to stop there just in the interest of time. And people can go to my website to see them all 6 of the transmissions, automatic transmissions.
And what is that website?
Which is scottsongs.com.
SCOTTSONGS.com.
And you can learn all about Scott, and he's got 6 or 7 or 8 lessons in life that he's learned over time.
Really? And then there's books, and if you go there right after the show, you get a new car. That's right, Kevin. Take it away. What kind of car would they get?
They get my car, which is not new. So, but
Rochelle is standing right next to Kevin's car. Rochelle, besides looking pretty, what do you do?
You know, I think I serve many purposes being on this earth. I get to teach people through the lessons that I learn, and I get to go through harder lessons to teach me more to then pass on. And really, I'm here to be creative, to have an open heart, to have an impact exactly how you've done, to just
Oh,
be the person that people feel enlightened and peaceful in, that they can come to with no judgment, no shame, no alter egos, as their
oh my God.
original, most authentic
I am
self.
floored by your depth and your authenticity. I was really being a practical joker. I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
And
well,
also,
I
what
was
I
gonna
call
give you
my
an answer.
I call my spiritual Dr. Seuss personality my
Mhm.
altered ego. So you actually just sort of tuned in and riffed about something you had no idea. So back to you, Kevin.
what?
I don't know, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, but I do have a question. I do have
Kevin
a
is
question.
speechless in Seattle. Guess, Rochelle.
I'm curious to know, Scott, what is one of your favorite songs?
You know, it changes. For me, music is medicine. I've been taking
Yeah.
myself very seriously lately. I'm about to go out in the world to talk to people about polarization and sing and rhyme about that the problem is not Donald Trump or Joe Biden or this or that. The problem is this intense need to be right and to see things only through one point of view. I wrote a book during his first term called, oh, that's not it. How to Evolve During the Trump Experience, Whether Humanity Joins You or Not. And I'll read you on the back. It says, Donald Trump is not a problem to be solved. He's an in-your-face wake-up call, a calling to evolve. As this book assists you to do your inner work, now Trump may still be acting like an insensitive jerk, but he won't continue to jerk your chain because you'll have discovered how to remain in your peaceful, powerful, and playful center where love and joy and immigrants can enter. Now, you asked me what my favorite song is in this moment, and that was a lead up because the truth is, I've been really scared about this next step in my mission and I've been taking it very seriously, and I've been having trouble sleeping, and so right now my favorite song is Harry Connick Jr. Recipe for Love, little short ditty. A little bit of me, a whole lot of you, add a dash of starlight and a dozen roses too, then let it all bake for 1,000,000 years or two, and that's the recipe for making love. It doesn't need sugar cause it's already sweet. It doesn't need an oven cause it's got a lot of heat. Just let it dun 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 dun, and that's the recipe for making love. And when you get it right, you know it. It's not like anything you made before. And when you get it wrong, you know it, cause it don't keep you coming back for more. Oh, I didn't get it from my grandma's book upon the shelf. Didn't get it from a magical and culinary elf. No, a little birdie told me I can't make it by myself. And that's the recipe. Yeah, that's the recipe for making love. The reason that's my favorite song is because it lightens me up. It makes me realize that it's all a game and it's safe to play. And even though I'm going into the heart of madness, I'm going with an open heart and a lighthearted attitude. And that's all I need to keep me safe.
That's beautiful. Hey, Scott, I got to ask you, because you do so much and you're so musically attuned, when you listen to the radio, do you get messages through music, through songs that just show up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the songs. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I was going to say one of the songs that when Bichelle, in the early days when we were working together, Bichelle was going through some really.
When she was in puberty? What are you talking about? The early days.
A little further past that, thank God.
But it took some getting to know each other and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I said is the gospel according to Paul McCartney. Are you familiar with it?
Well, let it be.
You
don't look at yesterday.
Yep.
What else could it be? There's probably a million little.
It is. Yep. It is, Scott. It is Let It Be. And you said those words in the song you said. And I think it's crazy too, because you mentioned if it's right, you'll know. If it's wrong, you'll know. And since I've lived on that path of letting it be, I don't really have those questions anymore. I just know somewhere inside myself, yes or no. And it doesn't seem so complicated anymore.
Because she's just letting it be. And that is, and there are so many important songs that have been in my life and stuff that have really pointed me along this way. There was a song by Leanne Womack. You may recognize it. No,
I don't think so.
I Hope You Dance. It was way back 20 years ago when I was just getting started doing this, and that song was popular and it would be on the radio all the time. Rochelle can probably sing a little bit of it because she knows it so well. Would you care to sing, my dear?
Want me to? Do you want me to? I've never been asked to do this. She says, let me think of the lyrics. She says, I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. May you settle for the path of the least resistance. Given my mean, taking chances, but there were taken. And then she goes on to say, like, I hope you dance. I hope you fly. I hope you spread your wings and try.
Oh.
And not be so fearful of things that you are being called to do. Just do it, as Nike would say, because that is so important to all of us. Don't, and I'm going to preach here for a moment. Do not end your life. Do not let your life end with you having regrets about things that you did not do, about people you did not love, about ideas and kindness you did not share. Do it all. Be there for everybody. How's that?
I love it, Kevin. And first of all, a standing ovation for Rochelle, because that was very
Thank you.
vulnerable. And
I'm
I
getting over
sense,
being sick, or I would have done that in a whole different tune.
okay, I just sense that
That was
it's
beautiful,
a
by
little
the way.
out there for you, and I loved that you opened your heart and your voice. And yeah, I would encourage people to listen to Kevin. Kevin is right on. Dance like there's nobody watching, sing like love like you can never be hurt. All of that stuff. And if you have wounds, it's okay. Just walk right through them, and maybe somebody can hold your hand. I'm a life coach, healer, therapist kind of guy, and I love escorting people through their shadow into their light.
Hmm.
You know, Scott, you do something that I find extraordinary. And years ago, I did something called Family Legacies. And what I wanted to do was to interview people in the last stages of their life, maybe at a nursing home or someplace where they were within shouting distance, if you will. And I wanted them to tell their life story so that their family would know it, and then they could recall it in their own voice. As an example, I interviewed my dad 3 months before he passed away. And at his memorial service, I edited it and played him is as like a 10-minute thing of how he met my mom, what he liked about life, how he wanted to be remembered, and played that in front of the entire church. And it was remarkable. You do something very similar to
Yes.
that in that you do song portraits.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, I create songs, I craft them over time, or I do them in the moment. If people don't have the money, then there's a spontaneous version. But I create and craft songs for weddings, birthdays, really any occasion, and including eulogies and funerals. And the most recent song I did, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Is the chat available for everybody? Like, do people
Yes.
see? Yeah. So the most recent thing was one of my musical mentors and heroes, Jody Kessler, who used to organize for me in Ithaca when I traveled through Ithaca, New York. Her husband called me up and said, Jody's dying of cancer. Would you be kind enough to create and craft a song for her, maybe finish it before she dies so she can hear it? And it was just amazing. I got to dive into her life and interview her husband and her mom and just craft this beautiful song to honor my dear friend and mentor. Never have I had so much joy and sadness at the same time while I was creating a song.
And
And
we're sorry for your loss.
it was the first one I did in Mexico, and I gathered all these wonderful musicians that I had been listening to, cello and background singers. And I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay.
My eulogy for Jody Kessler, who I recommend you check out her music. It's amazing.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Isn't it remarkable, Scott, the people that we get to meet in our lives and the profound impact they have on all of us, and especially mentors and people that came into your life, I believe, by divine guidance. And I don't
I
think
wish
there would
we
be
had time. I'm so with you on that, Kevin. And there's one fellow, Richard Barty, who influenced my life more than any celebrity. He used to travel in New York. He was called the D-Train Poet. And when I was like 21 years old, struggling, selling laundry bags, wondering how the hell I was going to do something meaningful, I met him on a subway, and his energy was irresistible. And he said to me, do you want to see a picture of the next savior of humanity? And I looked into his eyes, and I just saw this mischievous twinkle I'd never seen on a subway before. This is before cell phones. This is when people just buried themselves in a newspaper. And I said, sure. And he took out a little pocket mirror and said, you're it. And I intellectually, silently said, not it, because I just, like, I couldn't take that in. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we just started running into each other. We became friends. We improvised songs together. He was a big believer in my music, and he just said yes to my soul in the biggest way. And I needed that mentoring. He's on
Mm.
the other side now, but I actually call him in when I'm, creative and making up a poem, or because he just went into the heart of insanity, which was the subways in Harlem at the time, and he was just shined.
Well, and I just want to point this out for everybody that and everybody loses people. I've lost a bunch of people over my life, but I didn't lose them. I know exactly where they are, and they're still here for me anytime that I choose to call upon them. And
Hello, this is Kevin. Did I call heaven? Yes. Who would like to speak to?
yes, it's like it's like my mother went home, and I call it home because that's where we all come from. She went home 3 years ago, and I keep making the joke because she was a fundamentalist Christian. It's like, why are there so many people here? Because we're all there, and we all get to go back, and we all get to love each other and take care of each other, and that's why it's important for us to have kindness for each other here while we're still here, like you do, because you're very gifted at letting people know who you really are, what's in your heart. You don't hide it. You're very upfront with it, and you're very honest. And Rochelle, we love him, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We're here with nothing but support, nothing but honor and grace and appreciation. Like, I appreciate your life existing and you being here to not only be able to meet you, but I have made it a goal. I've realized recently that I want to go to Mexico on my healing journey before I go all the other places. They're a lot further from home. And I will make it a
Mhm.
point to come and meet you in person, Mr. Scott Grace.
Mhm.
I promise.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'll gladly give you my contact information and help you get situated here.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's remarkable. Now you're a young man, and where do you see yourself going in your next 30 years?
I don't know. I would say this next step of going out into polarized, painful environments and bringing armed with a guitar and a sense of humor, and that's really up for me, and probably a long-term commitment. Uh, in a sense, I'm excited. In a sense, I'm not looking forward to it. I've been in my little womb, hanging out with positive spiritual people, preaching to the choir. So this is a huge thing for me.
And you're going to be wildly successful doing it. That I know.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And we just have a few minutes left. By the way, on just for you, sir, we blew the last break, and we're not going to take it.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Really? Your bladder can handle it?
Yes, well, we will edit it in later, but I
Yeah.
wanted you to
Okay.
have the a maximum amount of time, and in
Okay.
fact, because of your work that you've done and all the people that you've met, and I want you to take a moment and to really reach out and to touch our audience and tell them anything that you would like them to know because of the gifts that you've had and who you are.
Hey, audience member, if you're watching right now or listening in, I want you to know there is no sin. You've probably made a few, let's call them mistakes, but that's what you need to get to the grace.
Mm.
And so whatever you're dealing with that's on your platter, it's only the gold underneath that will matter. The rest you just got to forget. You're in the pool of humanity and you're soaking wet. It's exactly what you need to give your gifts. So you go through the darkness and you get a lift. You jump up a lift and you find your gift. And let me tell you, through the crap, I did sift. I didn't have it easy. It wasn't all fun. And I'm sure my lessons and challenges are not done. But Kevin Burchell and me, Scott Grace, want you to know you're in your perfect right place.
That is,
Amen.
yeah. Well, you know, Scott, there are people that are listening to this show now or later that this message will resonate with them like no other because they've been searching for it, and the universe conspired to bring them to it at the appropriate and correct time.
Absolutely, Kevin.
And I know that for a fact. I've been doing this long enough, and I have people that say, you know, when I was doing live radio, I was just tuning the dial, and I stopped at your station and was listening to the conversation. Ooh, stopped at the station and listened to the
You're catching on, Kevin.
I'm contagious. Kevin,
you're contagious.
You're definitely right. And that leads me to my final story, which is in 1987, I was playing guitar in Tucson International Airport, and I just gathered a crowd. I was doing Beatles and just everything that people knew. People were singing with me. And I heard a voice for the first time say, "Sing Amazing Grace." And I said back to it, no. Like, this is really juicy. I don't want to get spiritual and turn people off. And the voice said, "Sing Amazing Grace now." And I did, and people sang with me, and everyone loved it. And a man in a business suit with tears streaming down his face came over to me and said, "I want you to know that I'm in Tucson to go to my mother's funeral, and her favorite song was Amazing Grace. And just now, when I passed, and I heard you guys singing it, I felt her presence telling me she'd always be with me. Thank you." I was a change. Yeah, I couldn't go back to pretending that I'm alone and that I'm not guided.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, Scott, from my vantage point, we're never alone. We've got all the support, all the help, all the things that we need to live an extraordinary life. All we have to do,
is say with sincerity, "Help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody."
Yes. And all we have to do is say yes. If we say yes to life, things will present themselves in a unique and
I got a song for that. Next time I come back, let's just do you saying something and then me singing. Like,
yes,
the Holy Trinity, the three of us, just the three of us. We can make it if we try.
Exactly. By the way, we've been talking with Scott Grace. Will you come back, please, and talk to us again?
Of course. I am always with you. And yes, I will return. Boy, that sounds pretty Christy.
I've heard that before somewhere. I can't remember. But go to scottsongs.com. Learn all about him. He does life coaching, song portraits. He speaks in front of a bunch of people.
Imagine that.
With his guitar in tow, and can tell you wonderful things and wonderful stories that make you glow.
Good job, Kevin. You earned your first
here
badge.
To make you glow and to make you grow, help you find your flow, take you into the undertow of the sea of grace.
Of the unknown.
Now that's what you call a professional. I'm an amateur. That was very good, Rochelle. You've impressed me greatly, young lady, in this show today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on down to Mexico.
Yes, I'm absorbing the energy, and within a few months I will be there. I've decided that's where I want to go, and you are going to be a bright light to guide me and help me figure out how to do all that. So
Let's
I'm very
talk.
excited.
Let's talk.
Hey,
just don't drink the water. And if Scott, if you'll wait right there, we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at kmmedia.pro.